This is the process you guys are missing in your capital raising. Here's the three reasons why people don't invest with you today. The first one is you obviously don't have what they want. So how do you know if you don't have what they want? Well, they're just not buying it. They're not responding. Your friends and family, they're not responding. No one's picking it up. Like, these are examples of things that people don't want. So you don't even try to scale them, right? You guys are obviously beyond that point because you're getting good responses from friends, from family, whatever it is. You're getting a warm audience. So obviously you have something that people want, but you're showing it to the wrong people. So this guy here with the block of ice, he's not going to be making any sales in this environment, right? No one's going to be buying this here. That guy, if he had something that people want and he showed it to the right people, would he make sales? No, because he'd still have to package it the right way. So here's the example. That same block of ice, you're on the beach trying to get sales. Who's buying your, everybody wants the cold stuff, but what are they going to do with your block of ice? Nothing. So you repackage it. And all of a sudden people are like, I get it. This is the process you guys are missing in your capital raising. Y'all walking around with blocks of ice on the beach because you know that people want what you have, but you don't know how to make it a popsicle. And that's the gap for most people in capital. Literally, that is the gap in capital raising. So here's how to start without experience. It starts with you telling your story. The story is the narrative that weaves into you being able to package yourself and the opportunity correctly. Now, there's things in your story that you guys are probably familiar with, like your investment strategy. You've got buy and hold, BRRRRs, fix and flips. These are things that you guys are familiar with. Maybe you're also astute enough to know that you're doing multifamily or commercial or storage or business opportunity, whatever it is. And then finally, maybe you know enough to be able to say, we're focused on the southern US. We're focused on Texas. We're focused on Houston. You're subdividing your market, and that's all good. Guys, these are the tangibles. These are the things that you will eventually potentially stumble over just by sheer fact of trying to explain what you do. The thing most of you are missing, I'd challenge almost all of you are missing, is the X factor, which is your unfair advantage. So what is it? And that was when Michelle, you and I worked together. That was literally what it was. You had your story, you had this, you had that, but how did you weave together? And here's why I'm the person for this. That's literally the linchpin for most of you guys, the vast majority of you. So how do you tell your unfair advantage? Well, it starts with your story, your why, and the evidence or proof of you being that person, all welding together and telling it as one thing. So when you meet somebody within 30 to 60 seconds, they're like, I understand why Tyler does that. I totally understand how Michelle got there. I know why Mark does what he does. Because if you don't have that, there's this gap. You ever have this pit in your stomach where you're like, I just don't trust this person? That's because things don't line up. They just don't line up. We hear what we hear, but if we don't see the things consistently with what we hear, we disengage. So how do you create that narrative? That's what we're going to get into here. So for you to do that with your unfair advantage, there's really 4 things that you have to consider. And the first is to position yourself as somebody of high status. Now, what's interesting is there's a lot of different ways to get status, but the most consistent and reliable way to do this is through thought leadership. Now, I'll give you one more piece here. How do you become a thought leader? You lean into the competence and experience of your life's work. Whether you're a custodian for 20 years, a doctor, a dentist, a physiotherapist, a pilot, whatever it is that you've done, there's a lifetime of experience that you have within that frame. You guys understand? Like, you've done something for long enough. Like, you take somebody who's a shy and timid school teacher and you bring him or her up here who hates public speaking, and you just ask them what they think of the school system and how they could fix it. They'll go off on a tangent for 2 hours, right? Because they've lived it confidently. Don't care who's in the room. They'll go off on a tangent. Why is that? It's because they know what they're doing. They know that they're competent. They can take a thought leadership, and applied the right way, they can step in a position of status. That is pivotal to your ability to demonstrate your unfair advantage. And finally, what that does is it actually drives in your trustworthiness, because all of those things that I've just mentioned come together as one narrative. And that's really what it is all about. You've all met people that within 30 seconds, you're like, I want to do business with her. I want to do business with him. Why is that? Because in your mind, my theory is you've checked off all these boxes and you're like, I want to give them money. I don't even know for what yet. Like, what are they? You guys have all met people who are like, I want to give this person money, right? So how do you create that where you're attracting? That's really what it is as a starting point. So those 4 pillars plus your 4 must-haves, that is your brand identity. That is what it's all about. And guys, this is the formula that's allowed me to sit at the table with guys like this, be at events with guys like Wayne Gretzky, Kevin O'Leary, a whole bunch of different people. And I've had the good fortune to speak at events in front of thousands of people. And it's because I've packaged myself in a way that immediately shows people how to unlock the value. You guys all have this in yourself, but you have to, I'm trying to give you the frame to do it from. Okay. So obviously to build that, you need a brand that sells for you 24/7. And unlike other things in life, you can't half-ass any of these. All 4 of these things have to be in place and they have to fire in succession. Does that make sense, guys? Is this making sense? Good. All right. So nailing this process is exactly what we've done for people like Michelle, people like Kent, you're a new client. We're going to work through this. We've had hundreds of people go through a program and help them package themselves in this way. You can potentially do this on your own, but there's a time cost to your ignorance. Unfortunately, it's your ignorance debt. You don't know what you don't know, and that's the process that you're going to have to go through, either on your own or with us.